There is a version of healing that looks like armor. The person who has been hurt enough times builds walls so high that nothing can get through. Not pain, not manipulation, but not genuine connection either. They have protected themselves into a kind of emotional fortress that keeps everything out equally. They call it healing, they call it strength, but what they've actually built is an elaborate structure of avoidance. And underneath it, the wound is still exactly where they left it. This is not what a healed empath looks like. A healed empath is something far more rare, far more difficult to become, and far more powerful than anyone who has simply learned to feel less. Carl Jung spent decades trying to understand what genuine psychological wholeness looked like in practice, not as a concept, not as a destination to be described in theory, but as a living, observable reality in actual human beings moving through actual human lives. What he found, particularly in his most empathic patients who had completed the full arc of individuation, was a constellation of traits so consistent, so specific, so fundamentally different from both wounded empathy and emotional shutdown, that he began to see them as markers, signs that something real had happened inside a person, that the transformation wasn't performed, that it had gone all the way down. These are those traits. The first is the ability to be moved without being swept away. This is the one that surprises people most, because the assumption about healed empaths is that they have learned to feel less. That healing, for someone who felt too much, must mean turning the volume down. It doesn't. The healed empath still feels everything. The grief in a stranger's voice, the unspoken tension in a room, the exhaustion behind someone's smile that everyone else has missed. That sensitivity doesn't disappear. It was never the problem. What changes is the relationship to what is felt. Jung described this as the development of the observing self, a part of the psyche that can witness emotional experience without being identical to it. Before healing, the empath and their feeling were the same thing. Someone else's pain arrived and the empath became it, absorbed it, carried it as their own, without any space between the feeling and themselves. After healing, there is space. Not distance, not detachment in the cold-closed sense, but a sliver of interior room in which the empath can feel something fully and simultaneously know that they are the one feeling it, that it belongs to them, not to them, that they can choose what to do with it rather than being simply carried by it. This is not a small thing. It is the difference between empathy as gift and empathy as affliction. The second trait is that they have stopped apologizing for their perception. The empath's ability to read beneath the surface, to feel what isn't said, to sense what is being concealed, to know something is wrong before anyone has named it, is one of the most profound and most consistently undermined gifts a person can carry. Because it makes people uncomfortable. Because the person being seen often doesn't want to be seen. Because naming what is actually happening in a room or a relationship is frequently treated as aggression, as projection, as the empath's problem to manage. And for years they did manage it. They softened their perception, qualified it into near invisibility, apologized for noticing, told themselves they were probably wrong, probably too sensitive, probably reading too much into things, right up until the thing they'd been sensing was proven undeniably true. The healed empath has stopped doing this, not aggressively, not as confrontation, but with a quiet, unshakable trust in their own interior data that Jung would recognize as one of the clearest signs of completed individuation. They have integrated the part of themselves that knows things, and they no longer require external permission to act on what they know. They don't announce their perception to every room. They don't perform it, but they trust it, privately, completely, and without apology. The third trait is a completely different relationship with silence. Before healing, silence was threatening. Space in a relationship meant something was wrong. Solitude was something to be filled quickly, before it could expand into the loneliness that lived just underneath the empath's constant activity of caring for others. After healing, silence becomes something else entirely. It becomes the place where the empath finds themselves again after every engagement with the world. The necessary return to their own interior, not as retreat, not as hiding, but as the simple act of coming home. Jung observed that this comfort with solitude is not introversion exactly, though it can look like it from the outside. It is more fundamental than personality type. It is the sign of an interior life rich enough and a relationship with oneself secure enough that being alone is no longer a condition to be survived, but a resource to be drawn from. The healed empath enters solitude and finds company, their own company. And they have learned through everything they've been through that this particular companion is the one most worth knowing. The fourth trait is that they no longer need the story to end fairly. This one is perhaps the most quietly radical thing the healing process produces. Empaths have an almost constitutional sensitivity to injustice. They feel the wrongness of unfair outcomes in their bodies, the person who hurt them and faced no consequences, the dynamic that everyone around them normalized, but that the empath knew deeply was wrong. The years of giving that were never acknowledged, never reciprocated, never even noticed. For a long time, the empath needed the record to be corrected, needed the acknowledgement, needed something, an apology, a consequence, a moment of recognition that would make the story end the way it should have. Jung understood this need as the psyche's legitimate hunger for coherence, for a world that confirms that what happened actually happened, that it mattered, that there is some correspondence between reality and justice. The healed empath no longer waits for that confirmation from outside. Something has shifted fundamentally in where they locate the authority to close a chapter. They have become their own witness. They have told themselves the truth about what happened completely, without minimizing it to protect the other person's image. And in doing so, they have given themselves the acknowledgement they were waiting for someone else to provide. The story doesn't need to end fairly in the world. It has already ended truthfully inside them. And that, they have discovered, is the only ending that actually sets you free. The fifth trait is that they give differently. This is the one that changes everything in their relationships. The wounded empath gave compulsively. From fear of what would happen if they didn't. From the deep, unconscious belief that their value was located in their usefulness to others. That love was something you earned through endless availability, through self-erasure, through making yourself so indispensable that abandonment became impossible. The healed empath gives from surplus, not strategically, not transactionally, but from a genuine abundance that is only possible when the giving no longer comes at the cost of the self. When there is something left over after they have met their own needs, met them first, met them without guilt, and what remains is offered freely, without the invisible invoice attached to every act of generosity that wounded giving always carries. Jung called this conscious care, love that has been liberated from the compulsion to earn through it, and he found that this quality of giving, paradoxically, is far more nourishing to receive than the unlimited but desperately motivated giving of the unhealed empath. Because you can feel the difference. Everyone can feel the difference, even if they lack the language for it. The difference between someone giving to you and someone giving at you. Between presence offered freely and presence deployed to secure attachment. The healed empath has become someone who gives in a way that actually reaches the other person. Because there is no fear in it, because it costs them nothing essential, because it comes from fullness rather than from the terror of being found insufficient. These traits don't arrive all at once. They don't appear on a particular day when the healing is declared complete. They accumulate, quietly, through the months and years of choosing themselves again and again in small moments that no one else witnesses. The moment of not explaining when explanation would have been self-betrayal. The moment of trusting perception when doubt would have been easier. The moment of sitting with silence instead of filling it. The moment of releasing the need for fairness and choosing freedom instead. Each of these moments builds something, layer by layer, choice by choice in the deep interior, where real transformation always happens. Until one day the empath looks up and realizes they are no longer becoming who they needed to be. They simply are, and the world which once consumed them now receives them differently because they have finally completely learned to receive themselves.